Navi. Good girl. Really hope she doesn't have one of her freakouts during this. Just has such a shrill bark. Yeah, it's true. Yeah, of course.
All right, how about now? They should hear me, and that should work. Oh, goodness gracious. We're here. I don't want to talk about what got us here, but it's all my fault.
Magic.
You've been very, very gracious. And so, yeah, my goodness, this is a lot of people in chat already. Thank you, everyone, for being here. 9 minutes late. Give me minus. All right. So I'm catching up on chat a minute here, and then we're going to jump right into things. I don't even know. This must be a lot of. I see. Why Panagadis, good friend that was helping me with building this computer, and the new computer is the reason a lot of this was scuffed, is because I haven't done a test stream, which I even thought I'd done a test stream. I was messing around with OBS, but then I
Yeah,
realized I never really went live. I just was playing with OBS.
yeah.
Um, I
It
might
happens.
I might need a delay on my audio. Is the last thing I just thought of. But I don't know if there's a desync there. Maybe somebody in chat, if it looks super off right now. Test 1, 2. Oh, the clap test was the one there. I think I'm just going to add 90 milliseconds though, because that's what it was before.
You have to add a delay?
Yeah, it's the camera, because I'm using a
Yeah.
over Wi-Fi camera program.
Oh, right.
So it's a little scuffed, but with that, should look pretty good. I should be more or less aligned. It's a bit off. We've got so many. Wow. Did I get rated or something? This is awesome. Thank you,
I
Waffle,
might
for the
have
follow.
put out an announcement in my Discord.
Oh, awesome. Well, thank you so much, everyone from the Trash Heap, for being here. I really appreciate that. Appreciate the patience. A little scuffed is part of the job. That is very true. Trash Clan. I'm a raid. Colchis, The Find Out, Jason. So many good people that we see here. So many friends are back. But yeah, would love to just here so I don't get fined. Yeah, Dylan's definitely getting fined, and Dylan might be the next guest here. I got to figure out schedules around the holidays and all, but
Yeah.
this has been super cool. And so, Trash Puppy, let's start off by you just sharing a little bit about how you first got interested in tech. I'd love to actually just hear, well, kind of the pathway you were on before, because I know you were somebody that transitioned into tech.
Yeah.
And what was the spark or the moment that made you think, maybe I'm gonna change careers?
I knew you were going to ask this, so I tried preparing this answer, but the reality is it's kind of a weird, complex answer, and I'm not totally sure. But I will start by saying that I was an ER nurse. I was working nights in like a really horrible place. It was the worst time of my life. Even though I actually really liked the ER nursing part, it was a really toxic, horrible environment. But I was staying up. I was working night shifts and staying up on my days off. So I wouldn't have to switch my schedule back to days. So I was alone in a place where I didn't know anybody. And when I was off work, I was up at night and I just kind of stumbled across Network Chuck, if you've ever heard of him.
No.
Okay, so Network Chuck is this YouTuber who does a lot of like hacking and cybersecurity and networking videos. And I think I started learning like random stuff from him. I don't remember the specific tutorial, but I like spun up a Kali VM with like watching his stuff and like played around with Raspberry Pis. And I was doing all of this on my days off or my nights off. And then when I
Wow.
would drive to work every day, I'd listen to Darknet Diaries.
Oh,
And I had no
nice.
idea I wanted to do any of this stuff, but I was like, ooh, it kind of was how I figured out that computers are actually really cool because before I just never thought about it.
I love that. And
Yeah.
I agree. Computers are very cool as somebody who's always been a nerd. But I love that. So it was content on the educational side that kind of got you interested. And I just want to say a huge shout out too, spinning up a Kali VM and getting into that just from some YouTube videos. I mean, did you have a technical aptitude before that? Like growing up, were you
No.
good with computers, or that was kind of your just, I'm just going to go into it and, follow these tutorials and try,
Yeah,
just go for
so
it?
the hang on. The good thing about Network Chuck is that he really makes content meant for people who are like brand new and don't know anything. So he made it super easy. So when you say, wow, spinning up a Kali VM really was like, it was super easy. I had no idea what I was doing, but I just did what he told me. And yeah, it was a good way. It's the same for Darknet Diaries too. Jack Resider is the guy who does that podcast. It's all about cybersecurity stories. And he also tailors the way he talks about the stories so that anyone can approach them and understand what's happening, even if they don't have a technical background. So I think because of those two and how they made their content approachable, it helped like it helped me, you know, figure out what computers were all about, if that
And
makes sense.
feel like you belonged in a way too, like you were capable, and gave you some of that confidence to try it out, it sounds like.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
And I mean, I've heard of Darknet Diaries from a lot of friends who are not technical. So I think it's
Yeah.
interesting because that, I definitely had that in mind, that it's a more accessible, and it's, you don't need to be a software developer. You don't need to be in cybersecurity to enjoy that podcast. But I think that's cool that you had sort of this two pronged, from the educational content side as well as the like a narrative, the podcast format. I feel like is very much about the storytelling, and it's really engaging. And so I think that's critical though, is when you're getting into something and learning, that it is very interesting at the same time that you're given the tactical, not tactical, but practical, like this is how to do some things, this is how to set some stuff up.
Yeah, definitely. And Jack Resider especially is super good at that in his podcast. Like so I would say Network Chuck's really good, right? But once you start learning tech, you start realizing that his tutorials are like meant for people who haven't messed with computers at all before. And they start becoming really basic, and you start having more questions about, you know, well, why am I doing it this way versus that way, blah, 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 just as you gain aptitude, I guess. But with Darknet Diaries, he's able to capture the attention of an audience that has no idea, that has no like experience about tech, as well as techies, which is really cool. I'm like a big
Right.
fan of him.
No, it's very true. And I have a lot of respect for him. I think that, the popularity of his podcast is a big testament to that. Because we have a lot of tech podcasts, and it's something that, always strikes me too, is there's some podcasts that are more accessible, and there's some podcasts where it's just, you only listen to it if you're a web developer, right? Like it's great for web developers, but it's in the weeds, it's very technical. And it always struck me that Darknet Diaries is one of the tech podcasts that stands out as tons of non-tech listeners, and I think has gotten that mass appeal.
Yeah.
So orient me on the timeline a little bit. So so you were working as a nurse, you were starting to get into this. Around what year was this?
This would be so it's like 2021 to 2022.
Okay.
Yeah. Like the
So,
beginning of 2022 in the spring.
okay. And so you were starting to get interested to play around with tech. Now, I
Yeah.
found you through Twitch. I saw your streams in the software and dev category on Twitch and followed and lurked a bit, even though cybersecurity is definitely not my forte. And we'll get into that a bit at the tail end of this interview as well. We've got an
It'll be great.
activity planned that'll be fun. Um, but yeah, I'd love to hear a bit about how you first got into Twitch and how did that align here? Was that kind of you right away started working on or started broadcasting?
No, so there's actually a huge part of that story that we're missing. So this is like it's like spring of 2022, right? And this horrible thing happened to me at work where one of my patients attacked me and gave me a concussion
Oh
and
no.
pretty much just like ruined everything that I had going for me as far as being a nurse. And then at this, like within a month of that happening, we had to move cross country for my boyfriend's job. So we moved, and then if you've ever had like a serious concussion, you're like a complete idiot.
Mhm.
Like, and the smallest tasks, like sitting down, I had just started learning to code too, but like sitting down to code for half an hour would just be horrible. It would give me all of my concussion symptoms. It was just bad. So we moved, and I was faced with like, do I want to continue to be a nurse? I moved to from California, which has really great like nursing laws and pay and everything, to out here where the nursing laws are shit, the pay is really bad, and I just had this horrible traumatic incident. Um, but at the same time had started learning about tech. And so I started thinking about like maybe I can just go into tech cuz it's tech is crazy in the fact that you don't need like a degree. You can for the most part teach yourself pretty much anything in tech, which is insane. Like that blew me away when I learned that, and then I looked at the pay and I was like, "Jesus." Like not only is it super fun and I'm loving it, but I can teach it to myself for the most part and then probably get paid like way better than I would have ever been paid as a nurse. So it just made sense at the time.
Well, and I think there's a lot going on there as well because with the displacement, losing your where you were, where you grew up, your social network, like not social network, but in-person networks, your support network and friends and family that may be nearby. Um, so I guess I didn't hear in there, when did the streaming start? Was that part of
So,
the
yeah, so we moved out here. It's like summer, and I started doing the Odin project.
okay?
So for like a month or so, I was doing the Odin project by myself and actually made some YouTube videos before I started streaming. And then I thought, because I figured like making content would help me get a job if I put myself out there and like talked about how I was thinking through problems and stuff. I could use it later to as like a way to bolster my resume or just have like a human connection aspect if someone came looking at my profile. So then I thought about streaming. So I just started streaming one day. I didn't like plan it out. It was totally trash. Like it was basically just my camera and the desktop. I didn't know anything about alerts. I didn't know anything about like chat or anything. So it was really scuffed and horrible, but also it like started this whole thing that I'm really excited to do every day when I get to do it.
That's awesome. And I was looking back at your about page on Twitch, and I think that was August of 2022 was your first stream, right?
Mhm.
So, random fun fact, but as I was going through, I just noticed this. Your first stream was like 2 days before, well, it was within a couple weeks of my birthday. So that was a fun fact there. But yeah, I think it's been cool talking to a lot of people and streaming, how it helps so much. And I think getting into content creation for sort of portfolio, we'll say it that way, and kind of giving you more tangible references when you're applying, when you're going through that process. But how did it influence your education and your learning?
The streaming part?
Yeah.
Oh. Pfft. If it weren't for people in chat helping me out, I'd be a terrible coder. That's for sure. Like, I don't know why people um come in and are so generous with their time, especially at the beginning when I knew literally nothing. they would they would come in and just like offer all this advice. And I wasn't really asking for advice. I was just like streaming the coding, doing whatever. And I just was lucky enough to have a lot of people come in who knew what they were talking about and help me out. Um, and I always think back on that because I'll look back. Sometimes I go back and watch the real old videos where I first started. And I'm like talking about coding and I know literally nothing. So it just, whenever I look back at those, it always makes me feel so lucky that people came in and like helped me out for no reason. They didn't have to do that, but I was really lucky that they did.
I really love that. And it mirrors, you know, I guess it was a bit of a leading question, but it echoes what I've heard a lot from people in streaming. And it's one of the things I love about the community on Twitch in the software and game development category is there, like you said, I don't know why people come in and help me. You know, my last
Yeah.
stream was building a computer and there was literally like multiple people who are also several in chat right now who sat there and like explained to me because I didn't know airflow, right? And I'm installing this huge graphics card and trying to figure out the heat sink. And it was just
Yeah.
like people sitting there patiently explaining stuff, but then also like sticking around, also following through, showing up on other streams. And that's something that I think is so cool is I really like, I would have borked my PC build. Like you would have struggled with coding. I would have had literally a brick next to me instead of a functioning machine if it
Right.
weren't for kind strangers on the internet who'd kind of volunteer their time.
Yeah, exactly.
I think one of my favorite things about your stream is I want to say the vibe, but specifically kind of the aesthetic that you have. I love how you've designed your overlays. You have, you know, you've got like the synthwave kind of aesthetic going, but also the different
Right.
windows. It feels like the Windows 98 kind of UI, and just your profile as well. It's something I really need to work more on my graphic design things. But as you've worked on the stream, I'm curious what about outside of the coding, outside of the technical stuff that you're working on, what have you enjoyed the most about developing your stream?
Well, first I would say that whenever someone has started streaming and they ask me about like the UI and stuff, I feel like people who just started streaming are super worried about the UI and like the graphics and stuff. But like I said, when I started, I had nothing. So it's been built up over, you know, this entire year, just slowly just starting to tweak things. Um, what was the original question? I
Sorry,
was distracted by my
I was just
dog.
saying, well, and I guess to give the question a bit more background as well, it's one of the things I love about Twitch is that every stream is very unique and it can be, you know, the OBS setup and having really crazy transitions and really well coordinated scenes, or it can be sort of the graphic design and how you set it up. It can be community engagement and people that have like
Right.
really flourishing communities and discords. So I was asking what has been your favorite part of the streaming journey outside of the
Mm.
technical, outside of like the on-stream
Oh, yeah, yeah,
content.
yeah.
What about streaming has really been fun for you?
Oh, just like, can I swear?
Yeah,
First of all,
go for it.
just fucking around with chat. Like, I have a lot of fun streaming and just saying stupid things and just like joking around, dealing with the dog, like all those little things that kind of make it a community. And, you know, all of us having Navi, leave it. See, she's making appearances, not even streaming.
She is.
Stop. No. I think my favorite part has definitely been the community and like hanging out with everybody. I gotta
Well,
close this. She's getting triggered.
no worries. And if you do need to go and take care of the dog at any point, no worries at all. We can take a quick break or whatever. I'm planning on editing these so I can splice things up a bit.
God.
But Great. Where was I going to go with that? Oh, speaking of the guest who's speaking up in the background there, that just reminded me I was going to ask about the origin of your name.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Ooh, that's a fun one. So, Trash Puppy is actually a nickname for my dog Loki, who is not this one. This is Crack Puppy. She's a new addition to the family.
I don't even
But
think I knew
she,
that wasn't the Trash Puppy.
yeah, Trash Puppy's downstairs. I'm not sure. You might be able to hear him. He's what's setting her off. Um, yeah, he's the OG. He's my Akita Husky that we got back when we were living in California, and he's like the love of my life. Like he got me through this whole horrible experience with this ER and all that. And the way the way the name came around is kind of weird. I started CS50 while I
Okay.
was still a nurse. And then this whole getting punched thing happened. And in CS50, we were doing Scratch. We had to make a Scratch game. And I remember wanting to make a game with a little Loki sprite, a little Akita sprite that would fly around and like hit a ball around like the map. And then I get punched. And then I like, as I was going through this concussion, I was like deep diving into pixel art. So I was like, I'm going to make little sprites for this game. I'm going to make my own little Loki sprite, my own little like town. And the whole
Oh,
time I had this idea that I wanted the game to be called Trash Puppy because that was one of his nicknames. So with the whole like getting punched thing, I think retrospectively, I sort of enveloped myself in like this safe little bubble of like tech and pixel art and learning how to code just to like deal with um, not being a nurse anymore and having that whole like situation get ripped out of my hands. So Trash Puppy sort of just became like this persona that I took on whenever I was learning coding and learning whatever, like anything that I would post online, I would do as Trash Puppy. I changed like all my socials around Trash Puppy to be Trash Puppy. And it just, I think that's ultimately why retrospectively. I think I just was like protecting myself. And I'm happy with it now. I think it's a great nickname and it always reminds me of Loki. And yeah, that's how it happened.
that's awesome. And I love that Trash Puppy is, not just a persona, but also very much a mascot of the stream with the
Right.
pixel art representation as well as, yeah, just in your graphics and everything. And I now realize so you mentioned doing sprites, making some pixel art for your game.
Mm.
And I assume that's the origin of a lot of your graphics you use on stream because I love that pixel art style you have. I don't even think I had necessarily recognized that that was all created by you, but I would assume that's kind of all your original art then.
I would say not all of it. So like if you see any like pixel art that's like moving, like I keep a little Loki sprite at the bottom of the screen, that's me. I rarely whip out the little townscape, but I'm gonna try to make that part of the background of my portfolio site. The rest though is like Canva.
Okay. So a bit of
I've
Canva,
tried to
maybe.
keep it like within that pixel art old school style, but there a lot of them are Canva things that I didn't actually make.
No, that's awesome. I'm very impressed with that. I mean, you've run the gamut of a lot of different tech. It sounds like you've done a little bit of game development, some cybersecurity. Have you done web development stuff before? I feel like I caught one of your
Yeah.
streams where you're doing some web dev.
Yeah, so the Odin project, which is how other than CS50, the Odin project is really where I learned most of my coding, and that's all web development. But yeah,
Okay.
I have sort of pivoted, is what I like to call it, a few times.
No, that's fair. Pivot is something we're very used to in tech, or if you watch Friends.
Right.
Um, so across those, I mean, you've kind of landed on cybersecurity here,
Yeah.
but yeah, I guess that might be an obvious question. I was going to say, what's sort of your favorite niche of tech so far?
It's cybersecurity.
Okay, so maybe let's go off of that then. What about cybersecurity do you really love, or what has captivated your attention in particular with that?
Well, I do want to say The reason I've chosen cybersecurity is actually kind of stupid. I I originally wanted to do cybersecurity, but I was so good. Leave it, Munchkin. I was so green and noobish that I chose to do web development instead because I liked coding, and I didn't realize that you can code in cybersecurity.
Right.
So about halfway through the Odin project, I finally realized that. I don't know why, but that's when I was like, oh, I can do cybersecurity and code at the same time. So the reason that I like both of them is really the same thing. Like coding, first of all, it's magical. Like you could do anything with coding, I swear. But also just like solving problems, especially ones that are like have been kind of a bitch to solve. I just love that for some reason. I hate it, while I'm trying to solve it. Once you solve it, it's great and you feel like awesome and you just want to keep going. That's like the simplest answer I can give to that.
No, that's great. I like that. And it's something that may not be obvious for everyone either, that network security, cybersecurity, you might think it's a lot of using tools or, probing firewalls for vulnerabilities. But yeah, the fact that you do a lot of coding, you do a lot of development, you can develop your own tools, your own scripts. I love that. So, when you look back at kind of your streaming career, do you have any particular favorite moments that jump out or any fun on-stream shenanigans that
Oh
stick
boy.
out as kind of highlight memories in your streaming career?
There's so many, but the one that's coming to mind right now, probably because of the whole like problem solving thing, I think my favorite moment still is Trashbot's very first words.
Okay. Tell us more about that.
Yeah, so Trashbot was my first solo project as a coder, I guess, because I'd been doing all these
Oh,
projects from the Odin project. And then I think we did Trashbot for 1,000 follows is when I started coding Trashbot. And so it was my first project that I coded all by myself with help from chat, but like with no, it was
no
like something I
tutorial,
wanted to do.
no
I wasn't
class.
following a template. Yeah.
Yep.
Um, and one of her things that she does, it's so stupid, but I love it. Um, okay, so when I started coding, I would debug with the word titties, spelled with two D's. And that was before I streamed. That was back in like CS50. Anytime I needed to like print something to figure a problem out, I would put titties in the print line. So that carried over into the Odin project, like console logging things, just to like make it fun. I always am looking for little ways to make it more fun, and that was one of them that just always made me giggle. So one of when I say Trashbot's first words, I mean one of her things that she does is it's kind of like Buttspot, if you know what Buttspot is. She'll take a random um she'll take a random chat message and choose a word in it and change it to titties. so so the moment, like the first time that she did that and I like successfully coded her to be able to do that was freaking amazing. I couldn't believe it. It was like the greatest feeling ever. Like my bot was responding to chat. I had just recently learned that computers were magic, so imagine like how magical this was for me. It's still like my favorite memory, I think.
So your favorite memory on stream was titties.
Yeah.
That was the No, I love that. And I definitely, in one of your streams, I remember, because Trashbot took one of my messages at one point and did that. And I remember being like, wait, what's going on? Like, did I trigger it? Was it like something in my message? And I was like trying to reverse engineer it. And then I realized, no, it was just a random fun thing. I hadn't seen
Yeah.
Buttspot before.
Yeah, she's had some upgrades. Like now I have a redeem that allows people in chat to choose the keyword. So I think what is her keyword right now? I think it's chair. I think somebody changed it to chair because of the chair stream.
Nice. That did remind me, by the way, before I forget, there is a Q&A tool that we have with this. And so I never put anything in chat, But if you're in chat and you have any questions, there's an ask URL, so you can use that to put in messages for Trash Puppy. And towards the end of the hour here, I mean, we're getting kind of close, we're a little behind, but towards the end, we'll go to going through those messages. So please, if you have any questions, use that URL. If you're hanging out in chat, and then one of the mods, maybe, I think we've got Coder in the chat here, and so maybe you can copy and paste that URL in a few minutes as well, just to remind individuals, and then we can take a look at those as well if there's any community questions. All right, so we're coming to the end of a year here. We are in December, halfway through December. My goodness, time flies. So we're halfway through December here. As you look towards next year, do you have any big goals or ambitions that you've been looking? Well, yeah, let's start with this. Actually, I realize I'm jumping the horse in a couple ways, but you know what? That's fine. We can do this in whatever order we want. So for next year, do you have any big 2024 goals or exciting new things happening even that you can clue us in on?
Well, so I've been working on the PNPT certification. I definitely want to get that done.
And for
That's
anybody
a
who
big
doesn't
one.
know what that is, do you
Yeah.
want to give the...
So PNPT is the Practical Network Penetration Tester certification. It's a big certification. It has a practical test out where you actually pen test a network, and that's how you pass. It's taking me a lot longer than I thought it would, partially because I can't stream it, and streaming's like the only way that I make money. So
Yeah,
that's a
okay.
big one. But recently I've been thinking, because it's been like a year, right, since I've transitioned, or over a year, and I really need to, the jobs are so hard to get into, so I'm trying to think of ways that I can make my own path in that's, a little maybe off the regular beaten path. So I'm actually doing a lot of research into doing bug bounty, and I've started bug bounty.
Nice.
It's bug bounty's rough, but I know that it'll teach me cybersecurity and still has like the chance of making money at the same time. So that's something that I'm really doing a hard look at right now. And I want to say that it's a big part of my 2024 goals, but I'm not going to jump ahead of myself because, like I said, I'm pivoting all the time. But I'm gonna throw it out there. 2024, I want to make some money bug bounty hunting.
Nice. I like that. No, and that's huge too, is yeah, just that, finding that sustainability. And I think it's awesome that Twitch is one way that we're able to make money in the 2020s, and building up a community, and just the awesome community support, I think, is huge. But those bug bounties, that dual purpose there of being able to practice as well. Now, for the PNTP certification, you said you can't do that on stream. Is that like they have specific prep materials and study materials that you're working through, and that's all?
Yeah, I should have said that. So I'm working through the coursework, and
Okay.
then we'll take the exam. And yeah, all the coursework is mostly video. So I'm
Okay.
not allowed to just like stream their videos.
It makes sense. Yeah, that's all their
Yeah,
IP.
right.
Because I was going to say, like, in theory, you are still practicing and preparing for it with a lot of the stuff you do on stream. Like when you're practicing cybersecurity, that's when you're doing Hack the Box or whatever. That's all hopefully helping, but they do have their own set video coursework.
Right. Yeah, and like the content on stream has changed recently just because I'm trying to maximize my time as much as I can. I don't have enough time for everything. So I've been doing a lot of hack the box instead of coding, which is how I started. Um, and that's exactly why, it's just so that I can keep practicing, but also be making money while I stream. And because also just streaming is great. I love it. It's so much more fun than sitting here by myself, studying.
Yeah, and I think yeah, that community aspect. I know for a lot of people, not just myself, but Twitch usage, both in broadcasting and just watching and being a part of different communities, picked up a lot post COVID. And there was a lot less in person connection, or there was struggles for
Right.
that. I don't know if that was part of it for you with the move, but my family moved a couple years back, and that was a big part as well. We actually moved closer to family, but it was like our entire friend groups for both my wife and myself had left since we
Yeah.
moved. And
Yeah.
so just not having a lot of friends, I think it's really cool. And in particular with tech, with software development, you know, not having a lot more remote work and remote positions, I feel like there's fewer clusters of in-person, you know, career groups or meetups and things like that even.
Yeah,
It's
definitely.
been lacking. And so, yeah, just another shout out to Twitch and that power of community, I think.
Yeah.
Would you classify yourself as an extrovert?
Definitely. But I will say, I was talking to my neighbor about this the other day because I just started hanging out with them, and they're both very confused on whether I was an extrovert or an introvert. So I would say historically I'm an extrovert, but during COVID, I was in the thick of it, like front lines, in the ghetto, in the ER. It was fucking rough.
Hmm.
Like it definitely burned me out to like the bottom, past the point of like filling back up. So now I I am struggling with just hating people. And I became a nurse because I love people, but I just am so burnt out that it's still, even after like a year and a half, I still like that cup of like how much I can deal with people in person is still like going up. So I'm like in this weird in between bit of extrovert and introvert.
No, I can, that totally resonates actually. And to be clear too, before I get flamed in chat for something, but I mean, there's a bit of a false dichotomy too, of course. Like extrovert and introvert are not true binary or true classifications even. I think there's a lot of space along that spectrum, a lot of nuance in there that better reflects reality. I don't think anybody's really one or the other purely. But growing up, it was definitely something that I always thought of myself as an extrovert because I was very social. I enjoyed hanging out with people. Big parties with new people didn't scare me, and that was a place I felt like I had a lot of energy. So all through college, I would have said I was an extrovert. And then I married someone who's very much an introvert. And it was like she opened my eyes to whether I'd been a extrovert or a closet introvert, I guess, where suddenly it was like doing introvert things with her. I was like, this is really nice. Like, wait a second, not doing anything with people is like kind of nice. And I'm kind of like getting really, getting a lot of rejuvenation here. So I've come to
Yeah.
learn, I think I'm, again, somewhere along that spectrum, but definitely more of a, I have a chameleon of extroversion a bit. I have like an outer layer of extroversion, but also have realized how much I need that alone time or downtime to recuperate
Yeah.
sometimes. So,
Yeah,
um,
same. I was a huge extrovert, and like I said, it just I cannot deal with people anymore. It's getting better, but I totally feel that like it's made me introverted a bit.
do you feel that streaming on Twitch scratches that itch a little bit for you?
It does, but I don't think it would be enough. So
Sure. Yeah.
this time around, and I say that as like a comparison to when I was in the ER. This time around, I'm doing jujitsu, which is great because that's like 3 times a week. I get to actually hang out with real people, and that's been awesome. Um, but the streaming too, I think both of them together is about perfect for me. Um, if I had to do without one or the other, I probably would be a little more jaded and like not doing well. But I think both of them together has been awesome as far as like my social needs.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I was wondering if you ever felt, have you ever felt like I want to go and stream now so I can like talk or so I can vent or so I can have, you know, connection with people? Is that something that you've ever felt like?
Not like consciously.
Okay.
Like that's never been a conscious thought, if that makes sense.
No, that makes
I've never
sense.
been like, I really need to stream today.
Well, I love the jujitsu call out as well. I know
You
I've seen
gotta.
Melky over there in chat. I was gonna say I know you're not the only one in tech, and that's been even this year. I feel like there's a couple people in tech that have picked it up this year, and it's been cool to see that overlapping of
Hobbies.
extracurricular activities, hobbies. Thank you. I don't know why that was such a hard
Yeah.
word. But I think that's cool too. And even in like tech Twitter, I think it's something I've gotten more of an appreciation for is like, we're all super nerdy on Twitter. That's kind of a given. We all like arguing about, what the best programming language is and why it's HTML and other things like that. But it's cool seeing the crossover as well, seeing people who play the same video games or people who are into jujitsu or people who like taking pictures of meat or milk or whatever it is. I think it's really fun to
Yeah.
have that overlap of
Some of
it's
those
not
people are all the same people, huh?
there's a lot, but yeah, I think that's been a cool, I love seeing more to the person. And I think in tech, a lot of us have our tech identity is very forefront, and especially in terms of social media and what we show on Twitch, what we show on Twitter. But I really love seeing
Yeah.
those connections. Music was another one. There was a conversation on Twitter at one point where, oh, I forget whose post. I think it was like a Ken Wheeler post or something. But suddenly it turned into a chain of like 20 people who had all been in bands before. And they were all sharing like what kind of band they were in and what they played. So I think that's a really cool thing that we get to see and share more of those human moments and aspects. Oh my gosh. So we got a raid from Zayu. So I'd love to thank Zayu for the raid
Oh,
and give a
dope.
shout out. I was going to say we will now pivot to the Q&A. And so, oh, perfect. Coder even set up a command for that. But if you've seen that URL in chat, that is a ask URL where you can go and put in some questions. I was going to offer TrashPuppy, if you want to take a break, grab some water, run off cam for a couple of minutes. We can do a break now, or we can jump right into those.
I'm chilling.
All right,
Do you
perfect.
need a break, Nate?
Nah, I'm good. I might need a break for mental fortitude before we jump into the next activity, but let's go through these
You'll be
questions now.
fine. You'll be fine. Don't even worry about it.
All right, we might have some inside jokes in here, so let's go through a couple of these quick. One just says, "Where's the rest of your abs?" I don't know if that's an inside joke or.
I think I know who that is.
And you can also say pass on any of these. We actually have quite a few questions.
Where's the rest of my ab? What's that even mean? Rude.
Very
Right
rude.
here. The right here.
So jujitsu question: gi or no gi?
I signed up for a tournament, an in-house tournament, but it's like official. Like I paid to be a part of it, and I went for no-gi.
Okay, no gi.
Yeah, yeah. I'm excited. I don't think anyone's in my weight class though, so
We have a what does the future hold for TrashPuppy? So I think this was somebody's question that I kind of stole, but if there's anything else kind of in the future you see, I was asking about kind of next year and immediate plans, but we can maybe make this more even sort of long-term plans or any big down the line goals or objectives that you have in mind.
I'm not good at that. If you're asking me for the 5-year plan, I can't see that far.
5-year plans are overrated anyways, especially when none of
Yeah,
us
yeah,
really
yeah.
know what's happening in a year.
In general, Trash Puppy's future looks like hacking boxes and making money hacking boxes. And hopefully writing some code at the same time.
I love that. Will you ever finish the white space interpreter?
Yes.
All right, that's a solid, confident yes.
Oh,
Oh my
Melky
gosh.
wants to fight, I guess. He doesn't ever he always turns it down.
Oh man. Yeah, that's in chat. So that's sounds like Gauntlet has been thrown by you, and now it's on Melky to show up.
No, he just threw the gauntlet.
All right. What? Okay. I think these questions are like rotating on me. What are some of the ignored security flaws you've found? Any plans to take one on and fix it?
That's a big one because that sounds like a question for somebody who works in cybersecurity. Yeah, I'm not sure I can answer that yet. I don't have enough experience out there in the real world of hacking. It's been a lot of hack the box, try hack me. Now that I'm starting bug bounty though, I might have an answer for that later.
I was going to say the
Down the
second
line.
part of that definitely sounds like something that'll be coming out of Bug Bounty. Plans on
Remind
fixing
me the
things.
second part again.
Any plans to take one on and fix it.
Oh. Ooh, actually, I was just talking to a mentor, a mentor of mine about this, about the difference between finding a bug and reporting it, and then actually like reporting it, but also providing a way to fix it at the same time. Yeah, I think going forward, I definitely like that to be like the philosophy I work off of. But as of right now, I mean, I'm still learning this stuff. I'm like drinking from a fire hose every single day. So I have no answers for the second part either.
No, that's good. Well, and I feel like the first part, any ignored security flaws you found, I feel like that's a little bit of a like that's an advanced thing too. Like, are you sitting on any 0 days? Like, that's a pretty
Oh, yeah.
elite
I'm
hacker
sitting
thing
on
in
a
my mind.
mountain
That's
of 0 days,
yeah,
guys.
like that's not the most common, but
Actually,
um,
I did find something the other day that I'm looking
oh,
into,
okay.
but I will say there's a certain Linux tool that is in probably all of the distros that are at least Debian based, um, that stores your network passwords in clear text. Looking into that one.
Interesting.
Possible
All right.
fixes.
We will I'll keep an eye out for that CVE with what I know you're behind. What is some advice that you wish you had when you first started your journey?
Oi. Ooh, I don't know. That one's rough. Um, I think like we were talking about earlier with Twitch, I was super lucky to have to like, I don't know, have the weird idea to just start streaming one day unplanned and have people actually show up and help out. And I would say that's not what most like the majority of people trying to learn how to code and hack, that's not the experience that they have. And I know that if it were different for me, I don't want to say that I would have given up, but it would have been way harder. So I think if I could have advice, like if I could tell my previous self some advice, it would probably be first of all, like, it's gonna be fucking hard. This shit's hard. And the second piece of advice would be to get some input and like get into a community where you can get some help because at least from my experience, the tech community is all about helping everybody. I don't know. You guys don't know like the healthcare and nursing community, but it's not like that. So
Mm-hmm.
it's really cool that tech's like that. And if people put themselves out there, I think, some people might be afraid to ask stupid questions and stuff like that. But in the trash heap, we're all about freaking asking stupid questions because really it's not that stupid. And it's hard for everybody, or it was. So normalizing that is my answer.
No, I love that. Um, I keep like removing questions, and then the question I just read is still there. So I don't know what I'm removing or if things are getting moved around. If I missed your question, apologies. But we've got quite a few here, and we've got an activity. So, would you consider a career at the DoD?
Yes.
So NSA, CIA, FBI.
Oh, hell yes. Are you kidding me?
And then the follow up here is really cool, and I'll send you
Okay.
details off stream. If so, I can potentially connect you with some folks.
Oh, 100% yes.
So that one was signed. I don't know if he wants me to. Well, yeah, he signed it. It's Dylan. So DM Mulroy if you've seen him in chat at
No
all. But I can.
way.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
hit me up. I'm all about literally any opportunity I will jump on, but especially that. That sounds really cool.
that's awesome. This one might be for me. It says, "How does it feel knowing that a rogue does more DPS than you?" I think that's a Melky thing. If
Sounds
it's
like Melky.
ESO to WoW, I don't think that translates. But if it's talking to me, I wouldn't know because if I check the damage logs, I'm still out DPSing all the rogues. So yeah, we'll have to.
Yeah, what's your class, Nate?
A
Wait, let
warlock.
me guess.
Oh, sorry.
Are you some type of, what do they call them? Like the nature mystics? You know,
Druids.
like animal. Yeah, you're
I
a druid.
liked your motion there for that. I don't know what that was, but it felt very appropriate. So I was definitely in a like original WoW, and so you kind of hit the nail on the head with that
Yeah,
because
yeah.
probably a
Got
majority of my time playing WoW over the years was with a druid. In
it.
this current iteration, I tried out a new thing for me, which is a caster. So I'm a warlock, mainly because
Okay.
they made him able to tank now, which is interesting. It's like a caster
Hmm.
tank. But yeah, where's the
I'm
druid
gonna
hat? All druids have weird hats. I like that, Coder. I do have I have some hats around here somewhere. We'll have to break them
I'm
out for a
gonna
stream redemption.
I'm gonna take this moment to just say that ESO is better because you can do any of the play styles in any of the classes. You
Oh,
know,
every role is viable with
so,
every
yeah,
class.
just throwing it out there.
That's pretty cool. I've heard good things of ESO, and I mean, yeah, we'll get to that in a second. Again, I do some games as part of these interviews, and if we were gonna do a game, Trash Puppy was gonna have me do ESO, but an
Oh
MMO
yeah,
is
I
a
was.
little tougher to get in with a quick 30-minute session. Um, oh man, that's awesome. What chair are you most excited to build next?
Oh my god. The chair. I built one chair and now it's like every day I hear about the chair.
Well, the next question is chair with a
Oh my
capital
god.
C or chair, all caps with an exclamation mark, and
Oh
then a
god.
question mark at
Okay,
the end.
so here's some more chair lore that I'm not sure you're aware of, Nate, because it's a big development in the chair verse. Yesterday, I spilled an entire while I was streaming, spilled an entire cup of coffee on my chair, and the
No.
cushion soaked it all up. And
The new
it's
one?
the new one.
Oh no. Is that why this is the older chair if I'm
That's why I'm in the shitty old chair, yes.
Oh man. RIP chair. Or is
Yeah,
that
RIP.
chair? Is that the all caps chair? Nate question, will you train jujitsu? If so, will it be 10th planet? I don't know if I could say I would train jujitsu because I don't know enough about it. I did do karate when I was really young, actually. So I did go through some belts and I learned some katas. I don't know, man. I'm like getting older now and just my body hurts in different ways, and so I don't know if I could do jujitsu. And I saw what happened to Adam. I saw what jujitsu did to Adam, so I'm a little terrified there. But I don't know. I'd be open to it. I would. I don't know what 10th planet means, so we'll just leave that one there.
I'm too much of a noob, I don't know either.
Tabs or spaces? Are you into this part of nerd back and forth? I think that's for you, but do you have a horse in that
Um,
race?
I don't know. I think I'm gonna stir the pot because I actually don't care. So I'm gonna say spaces. Five.
Ooh.
5 spaces.
5 spaces. You heard it
Yeah.
here first, folks. Trash Puppy is throwing all of the eggs in the 5 spaces basket.
Yeah.
And if you have an issue with that, you can go and fight her over on twitch.tv/
Yeah.
Trash Puppy, which I am going to give you a shout out real quick because I realized I never did that.
Oh, no problem.
All right, for Trash Puppy and Nate, what would be some tips you'd give to people wanting to start streaming? How long did it take you to be comfortable on camera?
You want to start or me?
You start.
Okay. I have a feeling our advice is going to be completely different. If you just send it and start tomorrow, you'll be okay. That's what I did, and here I am. My setup was shit. I didn't think about it at all. I didn't know anything about Twitch or streaming. I just sent it. I sent it. I yeeted myself into that, and it worked out. So that's like worst case scenario. You could have a really scuffed, shitty looking stream, and you'll be okay. I'm kind. The reason I'm like saying this is I think it's kind of a good thing that I did that. It wasn't on purpose, but like I didn't think that I would have to plan and like think about streaming at all. And so I just went into it and it ended up being not scary. It did take time to get used to being in front of a camera, that's for sure. So on that point, I will say just get used to talking to yourself when no one's around. Just talk about what you're doing to yourself, and it'll be great.
I love that. Trash Puppy's streaming advice, just eat it.
It's my advice for everything.
Fair enough. I mean, I would say the same. The ironic part here, and this is like, gets in a little of the I word that nobody likes, imposter syndrome, but this is an ironic question for me because I don't think of myself as a streamer at all. Like, I still feel like I haven't become a real streamer because I'm just in like, I haven't done that many and I'm always setting crap up and it's always scuffed. But like Trash Puppy was saying, I mean, same advice really. Like, even with the most scuffed, unplanned streams where I just spun up and like wrote some crappy JavaScript for an hour, it was wild how much people would show up and how much people in chat would help me, like you were talking about. And it's something that I think is, I think it's what's special about the format too, is like streaming is so wonderful because of the kind of transparent vulnerability of it in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And I think I hate the idea of an extremely curated and extremely organized stream like that. Like every time you stream, for me, it always comes down to just send it. Like today, I was literally, here's more of the behind the scenes. Up until I hit push live, I was still debating like canceling this and not streaming because there was just so much about my setup that was scuffed. I mean, you saw me struggling with the new PC setup. But it is like every time I start streaming and I get into it, it doesn't take very long before I'm having a blast. I think the being comfortable on camera is a little like I maybe have less to say there because just with
Sorry.
COVID, oh, you're fine.
You heard Navi. She's sassing me.
Oh. Just with COVID, I did a lot on camera for work. And so I think there was part of that where like I got a new job and I was a lead architect. And so I was doing tons of like meetings and trainings and webinars. And while doing that, I did a lot to dial in my video setup. So I wasn't streaming, but I think that helped me a lot with the getting comfortable on camera as well. So get your pockets out. But yeah, same advice I think ultimately is like just send it. And with streaming, it's the imperfection I think is part of the medium that's so great.
Yeah.
And so stop thinking anything about it's going to be perfect. Even me, I always want it to be like really set and really dialed in. And it became a meme that every single stream was a setup stream for me because I was always setting up something new. Even if I just set up the same thing last week, I was like, guys, I changed my whole audio setup or I got a new microphone. It was like me setting that up again. And
Yeah.
eventually I learned to just embrace it because it's like, you know what?
Exactly. Because
It's true.
something's always going to go wrong. So just expect that part. But also, as like a more refined way of saying what I said earlier, this is what I like people when they ask me about streaming and starting to stream. What I usually say is like, don't approach streaming for the sake of streaming. Approach like put whatever you want to stream first. Like if you're there to code, think about it that way. You're just there to code, and streaming is like an afterthought. It's like a symptom afterwards. It's not going to be your approach because as soon as you take that approach that you're here to stream and you need to stream really well, and like chat is going to be thinking this or how many people are watching me, that's going to become super apparent in how you're like holding yourself and talking and doing the stream, and it's just going to work against you. But if you approach it as like, ooh, I'm going to learn this new JavaScript thing today, or I'm going to learn this new, hacking trick today, and I feel like streaming it, but that's an afterthought. I think it becomes much more natural and way less like stressy. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I like that kind of the content first, and that should always be the focus. I saw a gaming streamer years ago. I saw had this question from somebody on, they were like asking how, like, I've streamed to 0 viewers and it's really discouraging or something. And his thing was, he said, when I started streaming, I had 0 viewers for like months, and that never changed it for me. Like I was having a blast doing what I was going to do on stream regardless. And like, I think that's part of it as well is you I don't know, maybe this is a bit of a spicy take or could be discouraging for some, but like if your focus is on like a certain number of viewers or a certain amount of chat happening or whatever, like that could very easily bite you. So I like what you're saying. Like your focus should be on what you're doing on the stream, and you should be able to have a good time or have arguably the same time, whether there's 0 viewers there, or there's 1,000. And
Right.
that kind
And
of
like,
always,
I'm not saying that that's like how I was. It definitely, I mean, that was how I was, but you're always going to fight with like the viewer count and stuff. Like that definitely has stressed me out before. So just turn it off. You can click it so that you can't even see how many viewers there are. And then
yes,
that'll help tremendously with the like getting caught up in the stream part of what you're trying to do. And then you can just focus on whatever you're streaming, the like the coding part or whatever it is.
I love that. A couple more here. Pineapple on pizza?
No.
No. All right. Sequel when?
Sequel to the chair stream? Is that the question?
It just says sequel when.
Oh my God.
No, like sorry.
Never.
Squeal, like SQL, the database
Oh,
language.
sequel? Is this Cypher? we do sequel every once in a while. Sequel when I need it. Sequel when we're hacking.
Sequel when we need it. I like that. I also love that you can tell like which viewers, which who it is.
I don't know if this is normal, but I feel like most of my viewership are people who come back like every day, which is awesome. But I don't know if that's normal. I would say like 80% of my viewership is usually people who are just here every day, and I like know them pretty well now.
That's rad. Well, I was just going to say the fact that you've already like been able to determine a couple different questions, you're like, "Oh, I know exactly who that is." Like that's the mark of a solid community. I mean, that is like
It's
really
kind
cool
of
when you have those people coming back. I mean, hey, nothing's a cult unless you see yourself as a cult leader, right? So what is this? Pirate software has a growing community for the cryptology, and Hack the Planet might be the vibe to help you some. Cool shout out there.
If you guys don't know, Pirate is actually a freaking dope hacker. I think he has like 2 black badges, which is insane.
Wow.
He might even have more. He might have 3. I don't remember the number, but I have heard him talk about his stories about like getting the black badges or when he used to work for, I think he did security for one of the big game companies. He has 3. Yeah. He's kind of a badass. Just gonna
Do you
put
want
that
to
out there.
explain what a black badge is, by the way, for anybody in
Yeah,
chat?
yeah. Okay, so a black badge is a badge that you get from this security conference called DEF CON, which is in Las Vegas. It actually, this year, it took place like a month before TwitchCon, I want to say. It's a huge hacking conference. Bunch of hackers show up, white hats, black hats, gray hats, red hats, blue hats, all the hats. They're all there. They're all hacking. There's different villages, and I haven't been to one myself, but to get a black badge at DEF CON means that you showed some serious intellectual prowess as far as hacking is concerned. So I don't remember his story specifically, but the fact that he has 3 black badges, that's huge. Like you can get job offers just from getting one on the
That's
spot.
awesome.
People will try to hire you because
That's awesome.
it's badass. Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know too much about DEF CON, but I love this story. I might be getting some of the details wrong, but one of my favorite stories, like there's always a challenge of hacking like a specific server, and I don't know if it's like they host the conference stuff or if it has conference details.
Oh yeah.
But they like hide it somewhere, and like a designed puzzle a little bit. And the thing that made me realize my buddy was super into cybersecurity, this was like 10 or 15 years ago, was he was explaining to me this one story where the person who won, they won specifically because they were small enough to fit through air vents, and they brought steaks for dogs, and that was why they were able to get to the server.
Yep. Yeah. One of the
like,
stories that really got me into cybersecurity from Darknet Diaries is actually of this woman who didn't know anything about cybersecurity, but went to a DEF CON and saw the social engineering village competition. And basically, for that, what you do is people will submit papers. They have to do a bunch of research for like months beforehand on a company. There's like a couple companies that are targets. And there'll be flags that are like, ooh, get the freaking, admin password for this company's networking team or whatever. So they do a bunch of OSINT, they do a bunch of research, they submit like papers, and then if they get to make it all the way to the competition, they just sit in a box in like an amphitheater or whatever, and they're given a phone. And based on all their research, they have to call up the company, do a bunch of social engineering, talking to a bunch of, whoever they've done research on in order to get whatever the flag is. And she, like, I think she kicked ass after like the second year of doing it. She got a black badge and then just immediately got hired somewhere. And I remember listening to that Darknet Diaries episode while I was driving to work as a nurse and being like, God damn, that's like the coolest thing I've ever heard. Like, I couldn't
That's
believe
rad.
it.
All right. Well, I think we got to the end of the questions here. Oh, are there any streamer collectives to collaborate on content development to maximize ROI? The maximizing ROI bit in there, I think, is I don't know if the ones I've heard of would say that's an intention of it. But there are streamer collectives. I think there's stream groups on Twitch even. So when I first started getting into streaming, there was the Pogrammers. So like programmers, but it's Pog. And that's like, let's see, Justin Chow is in there, Mewtrue, Juicebox Hero. And then I know there's the Claw, which is Salma, White Panther. And there's quite a few people in that. I think Finite Singularity is in there. The Coppinger is in there. Oh, are you a part of the Claw?
Yeah.
So that's Trash Puppies.
Yeah, it's a great team.
But yeah, there's teams like that on Twitch. There's also, I'm sure, groups and communities and Discords and whatnot. Maximize ROI. Again, I haven't seen people talking about that specifically as the strategy for that. I don't even know ROI? ROI is return on investment. So if you're in a business setting, ROI a lot of times like, well, if we're going to make an investment or like, pay for some marketing, for instance, like what's going to be the return on how much we're paying for marketing and how much we get back in revenue. So it's very businessy term.
No wonder I didn't know it.
I was going to say another call out, by the way, was Joel in chat was saying Spot the Fed is a fun game at DEF CON. And it's definitely something that has occurred to me, although I don't think I would ever go to DEF CON because I'm kind of terrified of the whole thing.
No, go, do it. You'll be fine. You'll survive.
If I went to DEF
bring
CON,
a Faraday bag.
It would literally be, no, I was going to say, like, that's one of the things is everybody gets like burner devices and stuff. I would just go to DEF CON with a pen and paper. Like I would just bring a physical notebook and a pen and that's it. Like that is all I would show up with every day. But I would totally be called out as the Fed because I like wearing my suits. So I'm like, I would 100%. There would be so many people that just like, oh yeah, dude, this guy's obviously a Fed. Not to mention my general lack of awareness and sensibilities when it comes to security stuff. Oh, that was an old game, somebody says. All right, so now we're going to jump. We're about 20 minutes past, which I think was about when we started. But with these interviews, we like to do an activity. Well, it's optional, but depending on what people want, a lot of the times it's a video game because I really like playing video games and I like sharing what video games others are interested in. And sometimes it's about learning or doing challenges together. So like with Finite Singularity, he helped me set up some of the plugins in OBS that he had authored. With TrashPuppy today, we were talking a little bit about this. And again, since I'm such a noob, I don't have a high enough level in ESO. So unfortunately, we can't do some awesome MMO PvP or something.
I would have catered to your level, but it's fine.
Yeah, but I feel like some games are less conducive to a jump in and do a 30-minute session. MMOs, definitely, I think that's a lot tougher. But for today, we're going to do my first experience with Hack the Box. So I've never done Hack the Box. I've watched TrashPuppy do some on stream, but I've never done it. And so before we jump into that, I do want to go through and give some shout outs to people in the chat and followers because I haven't done that at all. I'll figure out a more, a good way to do things in these interviews, but I'd like to just stay focused on the interview for the most part while we're talking. I do get distracted by chat a lot, but
No.
would love to just take a minute now to go through there. And so, starting from about an hour ago, we got follows from Waffle Dev, from Tiberius, B7H30, Chat.
Hey, homies.
This is a lot of homies from the Trash Heap, I'm sure. Kevin VDTO. We had that raid from Zayu, which again, huge shout out to Zayu. Nami Kuro with the follow 29 minutes ago, and then Pale Horse 999 just this minute. So thank you all so much for the follows. I really appreciate that. This is Testimonials from Tech, and this is a kind of fun interview series I'm doing with mostly streamer people. But yeah, this has been really fun. I'm hoping to do these pretty consistently on Tuesdays. So it's my general schedule is Tuesday, 2 p.m. Pacific time. Today was great because it worked out for you, so we hit it right on the head. But sometimes we'll shift the time a little bit for people depending on time zones and availability. I could be a Fed recruiter. And then we've got a couple first-time chatters as well. John Codes, welcome. Thank you for complimenting the suit jacket. If you have enough channel points on my channel, you can see whether there's more than the jacket because I have a redemption that's a fit check. And so I had to increase the price on
whether
that.
you're wearing pants or not? Is this like a COVID thing?
A COVID thing? No, this was
What else could you
literally
be?
like, I mean, yes, I see what you're saying now. Yes, it is that. It's, did I bother? I mean, it's a couple things that I was thinking about it, and it's like a scale of how lazy I am that day. So do I have pants on, or is it like basketball shorts with a suit jacket? Do I have a belt on? Because that's another thing is like who puts a belt on to sit in front of a web camera? And did I bother putting on dress socks and or shoes? And so every time I stream, there's decisions that go into that of like, well, how much am I going to go for it today? And we now have a redemption for the fit check. And so that was a fun thing. It used to be a lot cheaper and I'd get them like every single stream. But yeah, so trying to just scroll through the chat, see if there were any other call outs or questions I missed. I think you've been keeping an eye on chat as well. So appreciate that. Shit setup is part of the appeal in most tech streams. That's a good quote from Coder.
Yeah, because then you just fix it with your coding or whatever.
Exactly. Nate's the feds. Kevin redeemed a hydrate, so I appreciate that. Although I'm almost out of water here, so I need to refill. And then again, yeah, John Codes. When I went, we all got burner dumb phones, and I left my iPhone at home. Yeah, that seems like the play. Some real tech lead knowledge right there. I wonder what that was in response to.
It wasn't me, that's for sure.
I like the idea of not redeeming the outfit check and just assuming he's wearing some goofy shorts with the suit. That works too. That's
you could have like
fun.
a game. You could like purposefully leave something out and be like, "Hey, chat, what did I not wear today?"
Oh my gosh, I love that. All right, so hack the box.
Yes.
Hackthebox.com. Okay, wait. So they have HTB, Academy, Labs, Business, CTF.
You want labs.
Labs, okay. And I am going to create an account, doing all of this with this scene so that I don't do what all streamers do and blow up stuff on stream. And while I do this, do you want to give a quick, for anybody in chat who's not aware of Hack the Box, do you want to give a quick rundown of what it is?
Sure. Yeah, Hack the Box is this online platform where you literally get to hack boxes, but it's completely 100% legal. All the boxes are virtual machines that Hack the Box made and hosts on like a network that you have to VPN into. So it's a good way to practice hands-on hacking, which is what Nate's going to do. It's going to be super fun. I can't wait.
All right. Yeah, this is going to be super interesting. All right. I do not wish to receive emails. Okay, I registered. Is it all in browser or will I need an actual VPN?
You're good. It's going to be browser.
All right.
So they make it pretty, I guess it used to be back in the day super hard. now they've made it very very approachable for people who've never hacked. So at first you're going to use a browser VM, but eventually if you were to keep doing it, right, Nate, you would you would probably make your own hacking virtual machine, and then you would be able to VPN using open VPN into their network in order
Okay.
to attack whatever box target is your target.
And I assume as the challenges level up, there's more potential situations or benefits from doing that and having your own VM.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Cause like for me, I just finished starting point, which is where you're gonna start.
Yep. So I was just
I
gonna say,
made a
learn
lot
with
of
starting
notes and
point is what I want to do, right?
mhm. And you install tools that you're going to want to use again. So eventually you would grow out of using the browser box because it might not necessarily have all the tools that you want to keep, or like you're going to start catering your own environment, your little hacking environment um, that you like. And you're going to want to move it out of there and get your own VM.
Okay, that is not the right browser. There we go.
Nice, looking good.
And then move this back here. Hide. Oh, nope, not that. Hide that. And then we've got. Yeah, this is the other thing I'm known for is live OBS scene modification. All right.
There you
So
go.
size us down a little bit here. Great. So here I am, their little walkthrough. Beginner friendly labs, 3 tiers. Okay, so meow is the first one. Love it.
Are you able to do the other ones?
I can.
Okay.
VPN.
Yeah, so Pwnbox is that browser VP or browser VM.
Okay. They're having me do this for the little walkthrough. I think I'm just gonna exit out of the walkthrough because it sounds like you want me to go to Fawn or one of the other ones.
You're gonna go to pre-ignition. I picked
All
this
right.
out just for you.
Oh joy. Okay. All right. So connect using Pwnbox.
Yep.
All right. And is there anything? Let me know if there's going to be something that like I shouldn't have shown on stream, but I'm assuming this is
Oh,
all
you'll be
pretty.
fine.
All
Yeah,
right.
everything will be fine. Now, if you were using OpenVPN, there's, one part that you wouldn't want to show, but you're not doing that.
Right.
So
Yeah.
you're good.
Cool business model too. So that you get hours of Pwnbox, and then if you pay for the premium, you can get more. And
Yeah. And with starting point, there's 3 tiers, 0, 1, and 2. I think they all have 8 total boxes, but 4 of those for each of the tiers will be free.
okay. All right. Do I open desktop here?
Yep.
So that'll go to a different tab. This should
And
all
that's your
be
little attack VM.
okay. See text images copied to the clipboard. All right. Okay. So here we are on the desktop.
So go back to, well, don't be clicking on things. Then you might dock something. I don't know. I don't click on those things.
I mean,
Go back to where the questions and stuff were.
Yeah.
Because now you got to spawn your target VM, the one you're going to be pen testing.
Got it. Okay. Oh, well, I just opened a password thing over here. I thought that was the one I was trying to hack. Is that? We're probably fine. Spawn the target machine and the IP will show here. This just says upgrade to VIP though.
Oh, is it pre-ignition? Oh, yeah. That's me. That's me. You're right.
It's
okay,
a VIP
so then
one. No.
let's do Fawn then.
Okay.
We're not going to do Meow. That's too easy.
Were you
Fawn is pretty good, though.
Were you super excited about pre-ignition? How much
I
is
was
the
super
VIP?
excited about pre-ignition.
How much is the VIP for a month?
No, don't do the VIP.
No? All right.
Because you got to pay like monthly, and I don't want to make you do that.
I mean, if it's like $5, I can get a month to.
I think it's like
this.
$10.
I mean, that's not the most money. Yeah, I'm gonna hide this and we'll do a quick VIP upgrade to VIP. You prepped pre-ignition, so I feel like that's meaningful. I wanna honor that.
Yeah, but also Send it. Just yeet it.
Just eat it. All
I
right,
had a backup just in case.
No, this is fine. We're gonna do the good one. I don't want it to be too easy.
All right, perfect.
Go to my stream. Make sure I'm definitely not showing my payment details.
Yeah, don't do that. X68. What was the original entry point? You can tell us, right? Or is it still being used? That'd be sweet.
All right, now it's confirming subscription status. All right, cool. That's now active. We will shoot.
Going all in. Now you really got to hack.
Yep. Time to explore HTB machine. No, get out of here. Starting point. Is that where we were?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Okay, so spawn machine and go back to my thing. It was a JavaScript issue to figure out the code to sign in. That's rad. So you had to hack it to get access before.
Yeah, you had to actually hack it without like help or anything.
Right. Okay, so now I have my VM in the other menu, in the other tab. I'm creating the instance here for pre-ignition.
Yep, so now it's just spawning the target machine.
Okay, so
yeah,
here's the tasks.
Yeah, so starting point is a little different from the rest of the machines in Hack the Box. Starting point has like, you have to answer these questions because they're assuming you've never hacked. So they're going to walk you through it. The questions can still be like pretty hard and they're not going to give away everything. But they walk you through it a little bit. Whereas the rest of the machines, once you graduate starting point, won't give you a walkthrough. Some of them they do have walkthroughs, but they're optional. Whereas this, you have to do it in order to finish the box.
So this has a walkthrough provided.
Whoa. Slow down, bud.
But we don't need that. So directory brute forcing is a technique used to check a lot of the paths in a web server to find hidden pages, which is another name for this. Local file inclusion, Durbusting sounds like the right answer, but they also have a hint that makes it really obvious.
Yeah.
I mean, I know, like I've done Linux. I started as a sysadmin, so I know some of this stuff.
Which is awesome.
What switch do we use for Nmap scan to specify that we want to perform version detection? Ooh, I don't know.
All right, you ready for the attack box? Yeah.
All right, so we have an IP here. So am I copying this and coming over to my box?
Well, pro tip, it won't let you copy paste into the VM, which is a little toxic, but I can
No worries.
Actually, it's gonna be different for us, huh?
All right, so we open my terminal. I can paste it up here in the address bar so I see it.
There you go.
All right, so what am I starting with? Am I going to SSH into this box? Am I going to...
So that's what we're going to find out. But the first thing that I do, which is also a pro tip because I didn't used to do this, set a variable to your IP, your target. So I usually do like T equals whatever IP address you have. That way you don't have to keep typing out the entire IP address as you hack the box.
All right. Did I do that right? Do I need to export? No. How do I set the variable here? Help me out. Set?
Nope, just say T. I mean, it looks like you did it right the
T
first
equals.
time.
I tried to confirm it by saying echo T.
Oh, you have to do echo $T. That's
right,
why.
There it is.
There you go.
Okay. I swear I've used terminal before. All right. So what's the first thing? We tried just SSHing. This is my credentials for this box, right?
Yeah.
So that's
you don't have to worry about that. You don't want to dox yourself. Don't touch any of that. You don't need it. So
So what's my
The first
starting point
thing
here?
you want to do for most of these CTFs is you want to scan your target. You want to scan the network and find out for that IP address what ports are open, because those ports are probably going to be the vulnerable ones that you're going to try to use to break in. So
Okay.
that's what Nmap does. So the
So
simplest way to use Nmap is just Nmap with the target IP.
so just nmap $T is going
Yeah.
to check ports.
Yep. It's going to Nmap runs a bunch of scans on every port. The default is like only the first 1,000, and then it'll return to you what's up.
Okay. And they've left port 80 open, which is the easiest one I'm most familiar with as a web developer.
Yeah.
So that
You have some options. You can go visit it with Firefox,
okay.
or you can continue to scan and fuck around, whatever you want to do.
Let's start with going there with Firefox. The connection is timed out. Oh, wait. Why can't I
Something happened to
backspace
your
here?
URL, I think.
There we go. All right, so they've got an Nginx web server.
Sweet.
So this means they have, what is that? Oh my gosh, what's the default web route for Nginx?
See, you're already thinking like a hacker. I
Yeah,
love it.
well, again, I used to be a sysadmin many years ago, so I used to know this. Is it, it's var dub, I believe?
Something like
So
that.
now
Sounds
how do
familiar.
I poke around the directories in here? What's the SSH port? Can I SSH in, or what's the other one? Telnet in? What's the next thing I should try? I know this is totally cheating, but since I have limited time, I'm going to ask you for help along the way. Should I go back here and look at their tasks?
Yeah, so their next question is about Nmap and how do you get like the version of whatever services are running. So if you go back to Nmap and you give it dash lowercase s uppercase v, that's telling it to do version scanning, and it will tell
Okay.
you the versions of the services.
Okay. And is that the answer here? What switch do we use for map scan to specify that we want to dash SV?
Yep.
Is that what they mean by switch? Oh, yeah, that is 3 characters. I was like, that's only 2 characters, but I'm dumb. All right, so
So
it's
now if you
Nginx
compare it to the last output,
1.14.2.
yeah, it's telling you exactly. Now this is, we might not really need to use this for this one, but versioning is important because versions have CVEs, right? So if you're scanning a target and you can see all the versioning information for the services that they run, that means you just have to go to Google and find some CVEs for those versions, and they're possibly easy enough for you to just get the hack done like that.
Okay. I feel like you're giving me a really huge hint there, but I also want to poke back over here and see the service identifier is running. I hate that they have these hints like shown here, but also I thought it was Nginx. Oh, what service? Do they mean TCP
They're talking about the protocol.
or HTTP? Right. Server name and version. Yes, this is giving you. I like that they have these little questions though. This gives, like, for a beginner, I feel like this gives you a lot of background. It gives you a lot of hints on what to be doing, especially
Oh
if
yeah.
you're like
When I
me. And
started this, I knew jack shit. So this was very hard for me. I had no
well,
idea what was happening.
and this is so good for, yeah, just somebody with no Linux experience, no command line experience, because I mean it would go slow, but you could look up each of these, like GoBuster. I haven't used GoBuster before. I could go and research about that.
Right.
So
Yeah, I
dir
think they did
busting
a good job
specifically.
with the hints. They're not too much. Um, like they can be frustrating where you're like, oh, I still have no idea what you're talking about. But they're just enough to get your like gears turning on a certain direction, I guess.
Exactly. So what switch do we use to specify? It bothers me they say switch, not flags. But we use specify. We want to perform dir busting specifically. So I did the help, and we've got dir, which uses directory file enumeration mode.
Which
That
is basically
sounds...
the technique that you were thinking of on your own when you're talking about, oh, where's like the root,
Yep.
like www or whatever. That's essentially what we're going to be doing with the GoBuster.
So GoBuster dir $T. Is that the right? Required flags, URL and word list not set. Okay.
Yeah. So basically, what GoBuster wants to do is it wants to go to that HTTP address and try a bunch of directory names, but you need to give it a list of the words that it's going to try. So I'll put the string in the chat for you. Ooh, I think it's lesser word lists.
Do I need to make a new document for this and pipe it in?
No, you have, so Parrot, the OS that you're hacking from, has word lists already in it.
Okay. Gotcha. I was about to make a
Search
alternate word
for,
list, but
I put it in the ping chat. Maybe I should put it over here, but
I don't see it in the ping chat, weirdly enough.
over here. It's going to be usser word lists Buster. That's how it's going to start. But I've got my own Parrot instance up right here, so let me get you the exact.
Are you putting it in Twitch chat?
Mm-hmm. Give me a second.
No worries.
Okay. Oh, it's usser share word lists. Here it is. I got notes on this.
I love that you're prepped for this.
Boy, I've taken so many notes because I just forget things because I'm learning so much. And then after that, let me finish it out.
All right. Did you put it in Twitch chat?
Almost.
All right.
Okay, so you're going to start here. Oops, it's trying to do a command.
Oh my gosh.
So just add a slashy to this at the beginning.
/E.
Slash, sorry. Hi, Loki. Put a slash at the beginning of that and go to that directory.
Oh, but you said I can't paste into this OS. So cd/user share word list dirbuster.
Yeah. And then if you list everything there, you'll have some options.
Okay. Directory list, medium, small, lowercase.
Yeah. So just choose one of those. Small is probably good, but it's essentially just a list, a text list of a bunch of words that are likely to be part of a directory path. And GoBuster is going to use that whole list to try them all out until it finds one that actually works.
Okay, directory list 2.3 small.
Yeah.
So GoBuster -T with the word list.
You might want to move your terminal over just a bit because I'm blocking it. Sorry.
Good point.
There you go.
GoBuster dir $T,
Yeah, there you go.
right? For the command.
Mm-hmm.
Required flags URL not set. Is that what the $T should go? --URL equals.
Hang on, I'm looking at my notes. Don't worry, this is normal. This happens to me every freaking time. So, did you put a -U in front of the $T? You just did.
No, I just added it though. Yeah, I did the long flag.
Oh, okay. So now it's working.
Yep. Now we got it going.
Now I tried this earlier. It should work pretty quickly, but if not, ooh, I have the answer.
Well, don't jump right there.
Okay, I'll let you do your thing. But I'll give you a little hint. How about that?
Okay.
we're looking specifically for a PHP file
Okay, that
in
makes
the
sense.
in the in a path that we can get to from where we're at.
Okay. When you say a path we can get to from where we're at, I'm still in my box. I'm using GoBuster to
I mean
scan.
a path on the web page we're attacking that we can get to from
Porting. Yep.
where we're at on the web page. Yeah, just the
Okay.
root 80.
That makes complete sense. Oh man, you picked a good one because this is like connected to my background, although this was years in the past. Like I was a PHP Nginx developer and sysadmin. So
Nice,
like
nice.
the little memories are sparking in the back of my brain and like
Yeah. I
I
looked at
love
the
this.
boxes. I didn't want to do the first couple because they were
Just
super easy. I wanted it to be a little bit. Hey, no. Get one of you. What's your problem? I'm back. Everyone's fine.
all right. It finished and it doesn't look like it enumerated anything.
Oh, so what are we going to do?
Do I want to use a different word list?
That's a good thought, but no.
Okay. Negative status codes 404. I've got the URL, I've got the word list. What else should I try besides another word list?
So if you think about it, right now, all that GoBuster is doing is it's trying the words only in those word lists, right? So
Right.
if you have a PHP file that you're looking for, is it going to be enough to just have a single word? Like let's say you're looking for a file that's called butterfly, but it has to be PHP.
So
Right
do I
now,
need
it's
to
just going to
append
search
PHP?
butterfly. Yeah, so you probably want to look for butterfly.php, right?
Okay. Is there a option to append something? Pattern, file containing replacement patterns. What's the best way to append something to all of this? Should I change the word list file?
Nope, the word list is fine. You want all those words. You just want to put .php on the end. And there is a flag for that. I don't know if I didn't see it listed on there, which is unfortunate. I can tell you if you want me to.
Okay, yeah, we'll pattern. Somebody in chat's
So
helping me out too.
at the very end, you want to do -x.
-x.
Pattern might work too, but if you do -x, you're telling it the extension. So you say -x PHP.
Okay. So we've got -u, $T, -w, the word list, -x PHP. Yeah, -x might be the short form for pattern, or the short
Boom. Do you
flag.
see that? Anything change?
Oh, there's admin.php.
Hey, hey.
All right, so now we just need to figure out the username and password.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go with the default admin password. Root password. Root 123. Okay, so now let's see if any of these questions give me a little bit more. -x PHP. What page is found? Admin.php. Status code. I didn't look at the status code that was. Status 200 for the admin.php. And then submit flag, I assume, is the final thing.
Yep. So you have to get in there.
So I have an admin page. That gives me the login. Where would the credentials be stored? Coder's saying admin. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. So Coder kind of gave me the trick there. Which makes sense for this. Can I paste out of it? I can paste out of it. Boom.
Dang, you got it.
Let's
Easy
go.
peasy.
All right.
Don't you
That's
love it? Aren't
rad.
you hooked now?
That was pretty fun. Yeah, I might be doing some more Hack the Box. That was
Hell
definitely a
yeah.
fun thing.
Hell yeah, you are.
So I've always like been curious. I don't know. I'm like curious and simultaneously terrified of cybersecurity, and that's sort of where I've always been with it. I'm such elite sauce hacker. But no, this is fun. And I've always felt like I like expanding my knowledge in software development just generally. Learning more about how computers work and how to use computers, I think always helps build your kind of semantic tree of knowledge. So I might be doing some Hack the Box for funsies. Maybe I'll have like a cybersecurity stream day now
Hell yeah.
that you've
If
got
you're
me
into
completely
it.
hooked.
Well, and I hear that a lot from people that they're interested, but they're scared of it. And maybe it's because I didn't, do tech in school or whatever. I never understand that. I can understand like, ooh, probably people think that it's like breaking the law exclusively. Hacking is about breaking the law. But actually, if you even look back into like the history of how hacking started, hacking has always been about solving difficult problems. And
Right.
it was actually, what was the school that it started at? I think it was like MIT or something, from like a model railway train club. All they were doing was finding interesting solutions to problems that were difficult. And that's all hacking really is. So shake off all that stigma and then start hacking because you're going to love it.
Well, and to be fair, like I mean again, like I've had some exposure, so I wouldn't say it's the act of hacking so much that I'm scared of. It's more like the cybersecurity community in a sense. Like I'm scared of becoming a target in a sense. And so that's kind of been the thing, but at the same time, I don't know how much like getting more into cybersecurity stuff actually does that, because anybody on the internet has the possibility of becoming a target for any reason. The thing, I'll tell you one story, and this was when I first, like one of my first exposures. So I worked with a hacker when I worked at UCLA. So I was a student and I also got a job at the Office of Information Technology there while I was a student. And it
Nice.
was an awesome job. I was doing web development stuff, so making websites. But I knew, because he was in our department, this guy who he hacked the university and then promptly got a job with the university, right? So the director of security at UCLA made one of those very smart calls where this guy had, I forget his original hack, but it was something wild. And he brought it to the, gosh, what's the title? He was the head of security. So CSO, I think, Chief Security Officer, or CISO, Chief Information Security Officer at the university, who was my friend's dad. And I knew him. He wasn't really in our department, but so anyways, he extended a job offer as soon as this guy hacked it. And his whole job was just white hat pretty much. So he would literally just come up with ways to hack the university. And the dude had tons of vulnerabilities that he found. I mean, just was really legendary. There was one where he managed to find a vulnerability in like a DB2 instance, which was like a super old database technology, and it was like a total 0 day.
Yeah. That's
But
badass.
yeah, he was a badass. I mean, he would like put in expense reports for like $2,000 or something, and he would just be like, "What is this for?" And he's like, "You'll find out." And then he found out. He like got a whole backpack access point set up and walked around campus with like a full access point in his backpack. So just like
Living the
crazy
life.
stuff.
That's awesome.
But he came in the office one time, and me and my friend who both worked in this office were both students. So we would hang out in the office late and just study too. Like we had a place on campus that was great. And the hacker guy comes in and carrying just a box of crap, just like this huge box with like hard drives and disks and plastic crap and just all this tech. And we asked him, we were like, "Dude, what do you got there, bud?" And he's like, he just looks over and he has this huge smile on his face. He's so excited. He just says, "Data." And this was like, there was like cassette tapes in there. There was VHS tapes, like home videos and stuff. And I asked my friend I was talking about, I was just like, what the heck does he mean? Like data? Like, what is that? And he explained to me, he's like, well, for hackers, like any data can be valuable data. Like even if it's home videos, you can find somebody's first dog's name off of a home video and like all these things that factor into like having rainbow tables or word lists and stuff. And that was the thing where I was just like, I never want that dude to be targeting me. Like that whole
Yeah.
notion was so terrifying. So I think that's sort of the root of it for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, this was such an awesome time. Thank you so much for your time, Trash Puppy. I'm gonna let you go and not take too much of your day because, gosh, we're already at the 2 hour mark. I think. New
Yeah, no
password.
problem.
Navi
This
did
was
it.
fun for me too. I'm just so excited that I got you to hack.
No, this is
VIP
great.
too. That's great.
And that's been my goal and my objective with this kind of bonus segment of the interview show is it's an opportunity for whoever I'm talking to share something with me that they're really excited and passionate about. And
Yeah,
so I think for me the default, especially being on Twitch and programmers in general, a lot of us are gamers, so I always thought a video
great.
game is a good opportunity for that. But this was awesome. And this was perfect and very appropriate too with your background and your story. Thank you again for sharing that with me. Any final words for chat or anything? Anything you'd like to plug as well? Please give a shout out. I'm gonna do another shout out in chat, by the way, so people can follow you if they're not for some reason.
Hmm. Yeah, I don't have anything prepared, which is classic trash puppy. So I'm just gonna yeet it out there. Um, come by the trash heap. Everyone's welcome. We love learning about tech and coding and hacking things. And I just want to extend the spirit of like learning and learning how the sausage is made specifically, especially with like all the AI tools and stuff coming out. Just learn how the thing is done because it's super cool and it's super nerdy and it's awesome.
I love that. Great words of wisdom. And yeah, I think I'm debating. I want to like keep streaming and do something else, but I also think I need to get off to help the family with a couple things because it's almost 4 o'clock. So this might be the end of my stream as well. I just saw Manny Moki come in as well. Shout out Manny. I tried giving you a shout out by the way, and I think it's limited to one shout out for a specific person per hour because it said I have to wait 7 more minutes before giving you another shout out.
I
But
think we
if
can
you're
fix that. That sounds insane.
I know they have like a 1 minute delay for other shout outs. Like I can't shout out you and then somebody else immediately. There's like a 1 minute cooldown. But
Oh, okay, yeah.
that's the first time somebody said, I'm 43. What's yeet? Do you want to explain yeet, Trash Puppy?
Yeet is basically just without thinking about it, without worrying about anything, just jump into it. Just do it. That's it.
I love that. It's perfect. Just throw it with
Just
all
throw
the
it. Throw
vigor,
yourself.
with all the
Yeet
vigor you can
yourself in
muster.
there.
Um, yeah, Manny, the native Twitch shout out having a timeout is pretty wild. That's always kind of bothered me. Um, but yeah, my name's Nate, and sometimes I code. That's my tagline because most of the time on stream, especially recently, I have not been coding. But this is Testimonials from Tech, which is a fun interview series I started about a month ago. We just talk to different people who are in tech in various forms and hear about their story and have a fun little activity at the end of it. So this has been awesome. This is episode 4, I believe. And I will be actually editing these and putting them on YouTube. I'm really bad at video editing and I have a backlog where literally I haven't edited any of them yet. But one of my goals with the new year is not just getting better at video editing and actually getting like kind of more polished things posted. There are VODs on YouTube because I'm co-streaming to YouTube. Also, shout out to Brady over on YouTube who gave me a big congrats and was watching for the hacking portion. That was our first chat on YouTube, so it's definitely more of a Twitch stream around here. But if you are curious or you want to catch up on anything or you missed part of this, you can go to my YouTube and find that in the live tab for just the unedited VOD. I will be, so my goal for the new year is getting through my video editing backlog, which is way too big already, and doing some more shorts too. So clipping some little bits and pieces out of this. And I think there's a lot of fun comments and fun experiences shared during these interviews. So I'm looking forward to taking those out and having more bite-sized things that I'll be posting on YouTube Shorts as well as TikTok. yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Thank you everybody for
Yeah,
hanging
by
out.
the way, I wanted to say props to you. Don't you have like two little tiny kids at home that you're working with?
I do. We got two little ones, a 1-year-old and a 3-year-old.
Yeah, so props. I don't know how you're coming up with the time for any of this, but you're kicking ass.
Well, I mean, as of this year, as of a few months ago, I don't have a full time job. So I quit my full time job and I'm doing some contract work. So I do some consulting to still bring in some money. And I've got that plus some savings, which kind of floats us for now. But yeah, my goal with quitting the job was really to lean more into doing some fun content stuff. And so it's been a slow ramp up overall. I feel like I should be streaming more. Like I really do want to stream more and work more on stuff. But also have just been wrestling with the tension between that and paying the bills and doing contract work. And some of the client work has been rocky and there's been some difficulties there. So like there were months where I really wanted to stream a lot more. And then because of client stuff, I kind of couldn't. But yeah, my goal for the new year is definitely more streaming, more content, more YouTube. YouTube's a big one. And I've been like grinding, DaVinci Resolve now. I switched editing. I was editing with Premiere and I edited my first few videos that are on my channel with Premiere. And then I had enough people yelling at me to stop using Premiere and enough like actual technical problems that I encountered with Premiere that got me to say, screw it, I'm going to learn a new program. But that's been super fun. I also love your YouTube videos, by the way. I was going to shout that out during the interview.
Ah.
Well, no, I think, thank you, Owen Codes, for the subscription. I really appreciate that. Really appreciate that support. But yeah, I watched a couple of your YouTube videos, and I don't know if they're all like this, but one of the ones that I saw at least, I love that just as you're saying, you just sent it. You had, you turn on the camera and you start recapping. But for
It's
you,
my whole personality.
it was the preparation though. Like you had a notepad and you had your notes, like an outline of what you were talking through.
Right.
And it was really nice. I enjoyed it. And I think it's just, it speaks a lot to your, I think, diligence when it comes to at least like how you study and how you prepare and how you take notes. So just wanted to give you a shout out on that. I thought that was really cool. And I know a lot of individuals have, super highly edited stuff and are very particular. And like, I'm kind of in that like camp by personality just because I'm a perfectionist and I want things to be perfect. But that's also why I've only posted 3 videos. So I need to learn from you and just yeet a lot more things.
Yeah, I would
So
say as a yeeter, I still try to make it like I still have I'm a freaking nurse and nurses are all type A, but I'm also an ER nurse, so I yeet it, but I try to make it as type A as possible while yeeting. So yeah, you could throw some yeetness in there.
so you're type A yeeter.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't even know what I'm saying anymore, but this has been awesome. Thank you so much, Trash Puppy. I'm gonna find somebody to raid. That's gonna be my next step, and then I will shut down the stream. So,
Cool. Well, thanks for having me. This was
yeah,
awesome.
thank you so much for the time again. I hope you have a wonderful evening, and we will talk again soon.
Yeah. Do I leave now?
I was gonna say you can leave if you'd like. I'm just looking for somebody to raid at this point, but you can hang out and chat until we do raid out if you'd like.
I'll just
Um, okay, the slow wave. Chris is online. CM Griffing. He is one of the homies for sure. So we're gonna send everybody over. Say hi to Chris. Give him a good hello. The Queen wave. Yeah, we're gonna yeet the raid right over here. So
sweet.
go. Please join us in the raid. Give Chris some love. And I hope everyone has a wonderful evening wherever you are, or morning or afternoon, I guess.
Bye.
All right, see ya.